Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira gave fans a great fight in 2022. At UFC 281, the two fighters went head-to-head. Adesanya was the favorite to win the middleweight championship and keep it. But things didn't work out. After 4 rounds of a very exciting fight, the Kiwi fighter was knocked out by a full-on attack from Pereira. At least he's off to a good start in the world of YouTube, but it seems Pereira won't be outdone even on YouTube. Starting us off, UFC fans react as Alex Pereira follows Israel Adesanya to another venture. Alex Pereira beat Israel Adesanya at UFC 281. He then became the middleweight champion. Alex Pereira beat the last stylebender for the first time in the UFC, but the Poatan has beaten Adesanya in other fights. In Glory Kickboxing, the Brazilian is 2-0 against Adesanya. Pereira has won all 3 of his fights against the high-flying stylebender across 3 different promotions. Adesanya, on the other hand, hasn't been able to find an answer, so he's now in another fight with Alex Pereira. Israel Adesanya's YouTube channel is called Free Stylebender, and it is very popular. The channel has a huge number of followers, 893K. Alex Pereira has just announced his own YouTube channel, and fans are looking at it with the rivalry in mind. Alex Pereira posted his first YouTube video, which seemed to be a reaction to his fight with Israel Adesanya. Fans had a lot to say about his first video, and he posted another one soon after. Fans did not think that Pereira would follow Israel Adesanya on YouTube. When Poatan posted on Instagram that he had a YouTube channel, his fans reacted. A user said, "Bro even went to YouTube with him." Another user who thought the same thing posted, "Israel Adesanya has a YouTube channel. Alex Pereira." As Pereira and Glover Teixeira were making a reaction video, a fan said, "Israel makes reaction videos. Pereira." The rivalry between Adesanya and Pereira has been talked about in a lot of different places. 2-0 Glory, 1-0 UFC, 1-0 YouTube, said a fan who was definitely keeping score. Another user said, "Bro, Alex can't stop chasing after Izzy. He's even looking for him on YouTube." We really have to talk about the fight because Alex Pereira beat Israel Adesanya via TKO to win middleweight title at UFC 281. Alex Pereira won the UFC middleweight title with a TKO win over Israel Adesanya in the main event of UFC 281, which took place at Madison Square Garden. Pereira's rise to the top was lightning fast. Both fighters didn't waste any time and got right down to business. In the first round, the two fought like you'd expect from two people who have fought before. Most of the time, Pereira was the aggressor, but Adesanya was quick to answer back. The most important thing that happened was at the end of the round, when the last stylebender landed a right hand and a left hook. That could have ended the fight if the bell hadn't gone off. Pereira was able to get back on track, and the second frame was full of strong moments. He hit him early and often with a hard jab, and at the end of the round, he took him down by surprise. In the third round, it was Adesanya's turn to show off his wrestling skills in a rare way. From the clinch, he took Pereira to the ground and spent most of the round on his back. Through the fourth round, it looked like Adesanya had the fight in the bag, but Pereira stopped that idea in the fifth round. He hit Adesanya hard with several punches, including a left hook that was similar to the one they used in kickboxing. Pereira continues to have Adesanya's number across combat sports. The two men fought in a kickboxing ring, and the Brazilian won both times. In the second fight, he knocked Adesanya out. As it turns out, Pereira's kickboxing and power have transitioned seamlessly to the MMA cage. Pereira only had to fight 7 times as a pro and win 3 times in the UFC before he could fight Adesanya. Now, he is the winner. The loss means that Adesanya can no longer rule over his division. He was going for his 6th straight title defense, and if he wants a rematch, it's likely to happen right away. Before the fight, Pereira said that the now former champion wouldn't be interested in it. Pereira told MMA Junkie, "It doesn't matter who they want to go after to challenge for the belt. He should get it, but he won't want it after this fight." Given how competitive Adesanya is, it seems unlikely that he would turn down a 4th chance to beat a man who has been a pain in his side. So the two strikers will probably play each other again, but Pereira's win opens up a lot of other options. Robert Whittaker, Jared Cannonier, and Marvin Vettori are 3 of the best fighters in the division. But Adesanya has already beaten them all. If Adesanya can't figure out how to beat Pereira, things are about to get very interesting in the middleweight division. Well, Israel Adesanya broke the silence after a stunning defeat by Alex Pereira at UFC 281. Israel Adesanya seemed happy at his press conference after his loss to Alex Pereira at UFC 281 last night. Pereira knocked him out. Before he fought Pereira, the legendary middleweight champion had never lost at his preferred weight class of 185 pounds. He had also never been stopped in his career. Even though he won most of the fight, he couldn't shake the ghost of their 2 previous kickboxing matches, and he was knocked out in the 5th round. Pereira had already knocked out Adesanya in the ring during a rematch of their first fight, which the Brazilian won by a controversial decision, and lightning struck twice as he came from behind to win an amazing upset, and then knocked out his opponent with a loud stoppage at the end. After the fight, Adesanya held a press conference where he told reporters, "I'm grateful. What a life. What a moment. Isn't it crazy? It's crazy that it's the same story as the last time. I was fine. I talked to my coaches and I trust them, but I was fine. I could see everything that was going on. My eyes might have rolled a little bit into the back of my head, but I was still aware. I'm thankful, proud, and my team is proud of me. But it's all about my team." Adesanya wants to fight for the belt again right away because he had such a long and memorable reign as champion. He has also beaten most of the other top competitors in his division, including Robert Whittaker, Marvin Vettori, and Marvin Vettori more than once. With all that said, here are 3 UFC bouts we most want to see in 2023. First, Khamzat Chimaev versus welterweight and middleweight champion. If everything goes right and Chimaev does what he needs to do, there's no reason why he can't try for 2 championships in 2023. Chimaev doesn't have a fight scheduled right now, but he'll probably fight middleweight Robert Whittaker. The UFC was already interested in him moving up to 185 pounds. And now that a fight between Whittaker and Paulo Costa didn't happen, there's a need in that division. It would make sense to book Chimaev against Whittaker, with the winner fighting for the title. If Chimaev won, it would make sense for him to fight for the middleweight title. If he won that fight, he would have the same kind of momentum as Conor McGregor in 2016, which would be enough to get him another title shot in a different division. I'm not trying to name Chimaev a 2-division champion too soon, but he's shown he has that kind of potential. And if things work out, I'd like to see him in that kind of situation. The sports world would pay attention to that story. Next, Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski, lightweight. This fight is already scheduled for UFC 284. Putting this at number 3 is a bit controversial. On the surface, it seems like a no-brainer. ESPN says that Volkanovski is the featherweight champion and the best fighter in the world pound for pound. Makhachev is the lightweight champion and the number 2 boxer in terms of weight. Isn't it the perfect fight? The weight is the only problem. Volkanovski is rightly seen as being too small for this. When you add that to the fact that Makhachev is the best at wrestling, it could be a bad match. It's almost like when Georges St-Pierre and Anderson Silva fought each other years ago. Most people agree that the two best fighters in the world should fight each other, but Silva was much bigger than St-Pierre. So there was always the question, does it make sense? It's the same with this. If Makhachev's size and wrestling prove to be too much, will we all say, well, that should have been clear from the start? But what do you know? I'm interested in finding out. Volkanovski has been doubted before, and he proved himself to be the best fighter in the world by beating Max Holloway, who was the best of his generation. He wanted this chance to move up, even though some people told him not to. Even though he's the underdog, who's to say he can't win? Volkanovski has a lot of skill and has trained well. So why can't he win this fight? He can beat this opponent, and if he does, it might be the best victory of the year. Finally, Jon Jones versus Ciryl Gane, heavyweight. This is an A+ heavyweight fight, whether it's for a title or not. Gane's hype from early 2022 has died down since he lost to Ngannou in a title unification match. Most people agree, though, that Gane's best days are still to come. Even though he is 32, this is only his 5th year as a pro. And part of the reason is that he is very tricky. Gane wasn't good at wrestling, so Ngannou took advantage of that. Heavyweights haven't done much better than that against Gane's style. Jones is known for a lot of things, but I admire his ability to adapt and fight IQ on the spot. Gane will be a huge problem in the division if he has improved his wrestling. Jones, on the other hand, is a master at finding ways to beat someone. If this fight happens, the sports technique nerds will go crazy over it. And I'm one of them. What's next for Adesanya? Maybe a rematch with Pereira? Nobody knows. Well, that's all for today. Till next time, guys. Cheers.